Hello knitters, welcome to week 2 of 6 weeks of Christmas. And so like last week when I was talking about this, to start on bigger projects right now that you can do for your family and friends and have time to enjoy making them and not be so pressured and stressed about getting it done. Last week we talked about the little mittens or little tiny socks for an advent calendar, and I've got mine all finished and it's hanging here in the store, so come in and see it. I'll probably put it in the video here. You're probably seeing it right now. And it just turned out adorable. Now, of course, I did some striping and just different things, but buttons are good. You can do solids and just buttons. And but you can also just do solids. It can be as simple or as ornate as you want. And there were lots of ideas last week in the email on this. This week we're going to do stockings. So stockings, this is the stocking we have in the store. This is sort of a good medium size, well, sort of a large one that you would hang on a mantle to fill the stockings. And stockings can have several different traditions to them, obviously. There's definitely been people who start with a family and they start making stockings for their family, like I did last year. One of my sons and his wife bought a house last year. So last Christmas I made stockings for their new house and bought enough yarn, so I have enough to make stockings for any children that come along. So I've now got a tradition started there, and their stockings will be my stockings, which I just love that idea. And so there's one idea, and it's sort of one of those things that really does become a tradition. We often have people who come in and say, Grandma passed away. She's the one that made all our stockings, but we have a new baby in our family. We want a stocking. Can you knit one to match it? And so we do. So it really does become quite a tradition once it gets started. So there's a thought. There's something to think about. Also, those stockings can just be a smaller stockings. You can make smaller than this, and that can be for gifts. You can put gifts into the stocking. You can make smaller ones than this and make them tags. We can make little tiny ones. Those were last week. I showed you a picture of that. And make them tags for gifts. You can make them real, that goes back to the small ones last week, and fill them with, I put a candy cane in them and give them out, as gifts for little kids or something like that. Animals get their stockings, so you can make a doggy or a kitty stocking. And then they're also just good for decor. I have a stocking that I use to put my Christmas cards in. So I stick them in my Christmas card in a stocking. And so there's lots of different ways you can use stockings. They're fun to make. It's a really fun way to learn to knit a sock, actually, because it's really big yarn. At least this one is. This is I think on a 9 or something as worsted weight. And it goes pretty fast. You're just in the round doing your thing. And it's really actually a good way to do a sock for your first sock, because you're not working on tiny needles and tiny yarn. So there's another reason to make a stocking. So anyway, so stockings is this week's project. And so you can come in and see what we've got that you can make. And as I said, I'll have stuff down below so you can look at what's below. I pretty much try to keep worsted weight. Even in the fair aisle, I have worsted weight patterns so that you don't have to go down to fingering weight to knit a stocking, because that's a lot of knitting. So I kept mine on worsted weight just so that it went faster. So anyway, so have fun with stockings, have fun with Advent mittens, and we'll see you next week.